Okay? So Field reported that Myles Garrett and the Browns agreed to modify language in his contract that became official on Tuesday. Okay, so you have that, and all right, yeah, that makes sense. He's a great player, and they're going to try to work cap space and get other guys around him. Not exactly. Over the cap, I want to read you. That's a website that specializes on the business of the NFL in terms of the salary cap, et cetera, et cetera. They wrote something yesterday that I thought was fascinating. By deferring the option, the trade window for the player extends well into the summer. For example, if Garrett had his option picked up today, or they had to restructure the contract to get the low cap charge he currently has, the cost to trade him on the cap would have been $70.3 million on a trade during the draft, and $21.4 for 26, $48.69 for 27 if traded in the summer. The acquiring team would only be responsible for $2.3 million to $3.3 million in the salary for the year. With the delay, they're basically what the Browns are doing and Myles are doing. Instead of paying him this bonus now, they're waiting until 7 days out of the NFL season. With the delay, the cost to trade during the draft is $41.1 million, and the cost in the summer, $15.34 in 26, $25.6 in 27. The acquiring team would be on the hook for $31.5 to $32.5 million in salary, and the Browns owe nothing. A similar situation exists next year with delay of trade, blah, blah, blah. And what he's saying is it's an odd move for a player with a no-trade clause because the Browns seemingly turned a very player-favorable contract back into a team-favorable one with this move, and will certainly keep trade discussions out in the media next year if the team plays poorly. That's a lot, maybe too much. What that's telling you is that the Browns and Myles Garrett restructured a deal yesterday, Smalls and Courtney, to, in theory, make it easier to trade Myles Garrett if that were to come to fruition. That there's no obvious over-the-top direct benefit to Myles unless he wants to go somewhere else.
That's not necessarily true. I think that there is a benefit to him with cash flow because if
in 29 and 30, not now.
Yeah, but so you can't say that it's totally not to his benefit. Like, yes, the way the option is now structured gives the team more flexibility if they determine they want to move him. But remember, you just pointed out he has a no trade clause. If they want to move him, he has to agree to where he would be traded in the first place. So I don't think it does much other than the salary cap flexibility it gives them for right now, knowing that this is a team with a brand new head coach, and we don't know the direction that Todd Monken's going to want to go in, what he's going to prioritize, certainly with the draft, and beyond that. So I think trying to find wiggle room wherever you can with someone's contract might not affect you for this year, but it could down the road. I don't know. In digging into this yesterday and then seeing what all of the insiders in Cleveland kept pointing out, that it feels unlikely that he's going to be traded. Because at the crux of this, if there's a trade that's going to happen, it has to come from Myles Garrett himself. Like, do we know? Does he want to be there? Because at no point has he seemed super overjoyed with the Todd Monken hire. Jim Schwartz was his guy as defensive coordinator. He doesn't get hired. He ends up leaving the organization. Does he want to play there anymore? I mean, he just won a Defensive Player of the Year award. He, broke the sack record. He did all these great things on a team that went 5-12. Has anybody ever asked Myles Garrett what he wants? Does he want to be on a contending team?
He asked out already. What do you mean? We don't have to.
But, I mean, is he content being there with a new head coach? Because we really don't have any pulse on what he wants currently with this current staff. So I don't think it's a matter of just, trying to read between the lines here. I don't think it's a matter of seeing, of him potentially asking for this to happen so it would make him easier to trade down the line. I don't view it like that. I don't think he's going anywhere.
I don't think he's going anywhere either. And I kind of interpreted it the same way you did, Courtney, yesterday, just from a financial perspective, a logistics perspective, because now Cleveland, as you both pointed out, has the flexibility to create cap space. They needed to do that. And Myles Garrett has those modified option payments. But when you talk about that this makes it easier for them to break up, you're basically saying this is a prenup. If we decide to break up, we have made it easier for us to part ways.
Sure.
And I think that's advantageous for both sides, because if Cleveland is trying to build towards the future, which obviously they are, still a lot of questions about this group, your biggest asset, if you want to move on from him, this makes it easier. if you're Myles Garrett and finally you are sick of being in football purgatory and you want to go somewhere and win, if this makes it easier for you to do so and you still maintain control over that decision, it's beneficial for you too.
Yeah, I understand where you both are coming from. I will disagree with both of you like you have with me on this. I think this sets up for him to get traded. I think all parties would be very naive and short-sighted to not trade him. If this yesterday made it easier to move Myles Garrett, he never should have been on the Browns last year. The moment he asked out, the Browns should have taken advantage of that and said, we love you. We're going to retire your jersey. You have a job. You can't legally do this, but in essence, you have a job the moment you retire. Player services contract, personal services contract, 6-figure deal, appearances, the whole deal, set for life, right? You're good. But we're no longer going to have you employed as a player right now. He's the best defensive player in the sport. He is a monster on the defensive side of the ball. He sets all-time sack records, and he does more than that on the field. And if it's easier to trade him, they should trade him. And I think it would be utterly ridiculous for him to play another snap for the Cleveland Browns. And when we say this, all this does is move things around, well, not necessarily. If God forbid, and I don't even want to project this, but if God forbid he got some non-football injury while he's working out, he gets hurt, and it's like really bad, theoretically the Browns could cut him. Not that they would, but theoretically they could, and he just voluntarily passed up millions of dollars that would have come his way 2 days ago till 7 days out from the season. This should be the opening, and the Buffalo Bills should be calling today. The Kansas City Chiefs should be calling today. The New England Patriots should be calling today. All of these teams, Chicago Bears should be calling today. Dallas Cowboys, Houston Texans, all these teams that you would say, oh, I could see him there. They should be calling. There's an opening. Someone should take advantage of this. And maybe, just maybe, we looked at the Browns' request for trading draft picks 5 years out backwards. Maybe it wasn't about them giving up picks. Maybe it was about them getting picks. When they're saying we want to be able to trade draft picks more years out, maybe it's, hey, we want 3 first-rounders for Myles. We know you're not going to do it in back-to-back years, but if you do it every other year, maybe it makes it a little bit easier 5 years out. Maybe we looked at, or I looked at, I don't want to blame anybody else, backwards. I think it would be ridiculous for him to play another game for the Cleveland Browns. Here is your opening. He's already asked out once. The contract is now easier. He's got a no-trade clause. Clearly he's thought about this, because why would you make it easier? When you say free up cap space, for what? What are the Browns doing with that cap space? Who's available now that they're all of a sudden going to go get that's going to make a difference?
Well, that's why it's not for right now. It's not for the short-term gain. This is long-term flexibility with the cap and the potential option because you move his legitimate option out to August 30th, I believe, so right before cutdown day. Like, that's where the long-term flexibility comes in addition to future years of getting your cap healthier. Like, I don't think it has much to do with right now.
He shouldn't be there. There's no logic for him to be there anymore. None. Go get 2 to 3 first-rounders for him and call it a day. And there's many teams with multiple first-rounders this year. I'm just saying, this should be the opening that the Browns and Myles Garrett should take with one another for him to get to a contender. All right, coming up. A Super Bowl winning quarterback has called NFL teams dumb. Why did he do that? We'll get to that next. We're on Sportsmanlike, presented by Progressive Insurance.
The 2026 NFL Draft.
With the first pick.
Live from the North Shore.